I've been waiting months for this update because for some reason the New World Aeternum devs decided, yeah, we're only going to fix our game and make good changes every 90 days or so, which means I haven't had anything to do since the Thanksgiving update. We can finally get into the big changes coming to New World. We got the seasonal worlds. I don't care about them. We're going to see how that plays out. If you want to learn about them, there's like a million dev blogs. I actually want to see what's happening to the game. So new Outpost Rush map preview weekend. So that's coming, we already knew about it. But here's what I want to see. PvE quality of life and better endgame. So we have unified mutations, which means the mutators are going to be the same, so you don't have to like swap out your gems or have different gear sets for each of the different mutations that are available. Activity Finder, matchmaking for Mutation 3. Probably going to be scuffed, but also a lot of players have gained gear score, and there's going to be better gear. So upgraded rewards, which means it's going to be easier to get into higher level mutations and maybe even transition into raids and stuff. So we're going to see how this plays out. But like good changes overall, as long as the player base isn't complete crap, which means we can't hold our breath. Now, so far the patch notes have been underwhelming because these things have been in like previous updates and announcements. So if we want to get into like the specific notes, we got to keep going a bit more. But giving a quick overview of the artifacts is pretty good. And we have a new Void Gauntlet. And as the top Void Gauntlet representative of New World, I'm looking forward to the new Void Gauntlet. 100% more healing, 50% more damage with Essence Rupture. I don't know if it's going to be like the new main, but the idea here is I can finally go off of the Blood Drinker, potentially with the more healing, and then we're just going to go like crazy wild with everything. So Life Staff, 30% damage absorption with Light Touch after casting a Light Staff ability. This seems really interesting because it means like, oh, we don't have an offensive Life Staff artifact anymore. New Ice Gauntlet, Frostburn by breaking Entomb, slowing enemies, dealing damage over time. Okay, so like that just gets better. Fire Staff, I don't even think it's possible to make something better than the Inferno. And Inferno giving just the 15% damage to everyone, like regardless of if it's your active weapon, that's like an undocumented change that isn't even in the tooltip that people don't know about. It's like, yeah, just everyone should have Inferno offhand. They plan on just using a regular main hand. But also this is going to change up my build because the nice thing I have about Shimmer Mist, or if you get the Raid Void Gauntlet, I think the Raid Void Gauntlet might actually be better, because that has like so much DOT and so many other effects behind it, is that it's not an artifact. So you can have the artifact secondary, which means like Finisher, you have 15% permanent damage against bleed, or Inferno, if you're going melee, you just have 15% damage for free for never using the Inferno. Sacrifice damage for increased burn effects. That also, what's the point? Why would you sacrifice damage when the Inferno exists and you get 15% burn effect, or you get 15% damage for existing? I don't get it. 15% damage to poisoned enemies. Why would you do, like, I guess for range? I don't know. So that's what it means, like the Inferno, that has to be wrong. That it just works on both weapons and now it's just the best artifact if you just want to have it on the side. Rapier. Anything that isn't the finisher, and if the finisher doesn't get a gutted nerf, then there's no point to doing anything else. Stacking burn effect with heavy melee attacks. Unless they're actually just making the same finisher, but this time it's burn, and maybe has some like other effects that aren't exactly only bleed. And that also doesn't make sense, because if you want like a bleed DOT heavy attack weapon, that's what the Spear is for. And then you also have like the Spear artifact, which does a similar thing with poison. So it's like, oh yeah, you can eat now. Okay, so your two choices for speedrunning mutations and raids, it's going to be the heavy attack rapier or the evade rapier. Good luck, have fun. Earring, automatically recharge healing potions after 20 hits. 97. Like, I don't like these cooldowns just make everything seem terrible to me. And then musket that causes enemies to bleed on headshots. That sounds annoying. The mechanic is just kind of trash, so we'll see what happens. And then we have upcoming events. I thought in one of the updates they said the Legacy of Crassius was going to be like upscaled beyond 700, but says like rewards of up to 700 now. Siege of Sulfur, Rabbit's Revenge. See, that's the weird thing about having a 725 tier that's so exclusive. So, well, what's the point? Because like getting 700 is super free now, so any event that gives 700 isn't going to do anything for anyone. There's no point playing the events where it's like, well, I could actually just be doing other content, getting higher level gear instead. And then all of these changes don't really matter. If you want to know about individual bug fixes, I don't want to be here for an hour over small changes that don't matter with a couple of maybe matter things. Because like, oh, you get 25% more points, like more scoring points while you're near a point of interest in Outpost Rush. Like that's the only actual balance change that has occurred. So instead of like fixing all of these issues, you know, halfway into the season, they just went like, here's your big update. All bug fixes, barely any content. Come on, devs. I was hoping you were like hanging on to something. And then they were. This change sounds awful. So health and regen potions are more powerful, but they have a shared cooldown. But the cooldown has been adjusted to compensate. I don't get it. Like that was the whole cool thing about like strategic playing or clutching, where it's like health potion, save, hold the regeneration potion, then use that at the right time, then your health potion cooldown comes back, and like you juggle those cooldowns when you need them, or like you just clutch the big health potion healing. Now what's the point? What's the point of having a health potion when it's like the only thing to drink is now the regeneration serum? And then there's a new category of survival potions, but health and regen potions have been added to the category. So it's not like the second slot has been replaced. No, now 2 slots have become 1, less buttons to press, I guess, and then we have a different effect and cooldown for compensation. It's like, what was the point of all that? And now we have the survival potions. Shared cooldown, additional potion types to help with survivability. So like regenerating fortification potion, I guess, or just whatever survivability potion. But it feels like survival potions and healing potions should be 2 separate buckets. And then it's like, yeah, I can drink my, you know, light fortification potion and then my regeneration serum, or choose if I should just get like an 8k heal off of a regular health potion. So that's a weird change. Healing functionality. So increase the tick rate of the passive food healing from every 2.5 to 2 seconds. Out of combat bonus increased. 20 seconds of burst healing that is removed on hit when consuming food items to compensate for the... What is this? It's like, what are the healing balance was not on my mind. Everything functioned pretty well just inside of how the game worked. So, power increases, current health and regen potions to compensate. Regeneration serum adjusting the power to compensate for the reduced cooldown sounds like a nerf. Increased the power, adjusted the power. Everything else is getting buffed. I don't know. Like, are they trying to make it to where, like, yeah, you don't only press the regeneration serum? There's actually going to be times where regular regeneration or health potions are better. Kind of, like, takes away the point of just pouring all the bottles into one bottle. We're going to have to see how this goes. And then, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of weird. Adjust the way range weapon persistent damage multiplier is calculated. Reverted PvP damage scaling that was intended to reduce the damage of the blunderbuss. I've heard people just say, like, oh yeah, blunderbuss one-shots. So they changed that because of target lock, and they changed target lock. I don't know. Absorption potions to reduce the potency of creature family ward potions by 50% while active. What? Alright, so we have Death's Door. Adds a timer that prevents the player from giving up for the first 3 seconds. Accidental button presses. That's it. Cool. Okay, this is actually really cool. They gave grit back to light attacks on 300 Constitution. They got rid of it for Aeternum for some reason. Now it's back, so like you can actually play the game as a sword tank and not get staggered too much on flail. So you're actually useful again. Nice. Heart Gem, issue fixes. Dodge, issue fixes. Okay, weapons and perks. See, here's what I'm for, man. I need to see the weapon changes and balance and things that actually impact the game. Never mind, it's all just fixing issues. Like, I feel like version 1.1.3 or whatever. Wait, this is still 1.1.4, so it's not even like a 1.2 update? We're still in bug fixes that they only held off till the end of season? Come on, devs. I want this game to be good. I believe in you. Don't make the deranged haters right, but they kind of are. Fix an issue. Elemental Band was allowing same damage type to stack multiple types of empower. Yay, Elemental Band is enabled. So the most chased artifact of the hardest challenge in the game that got disabled for 2-3 months can finally use it. And I think it's just crap. Like 4% power. That's it. No, it's terrible. So I don't even know what the point is. And then updated Endless Thirst artifact tooltip for its functionality. damage type protection perks, not bypass clamping for damage absorption. Stuff's happening here. Blunderbuss. Increase the inaccuracy of Blunderbuss when locked onto an enemy player. That actually might be the correct balance to give it more spread instead of just like the global damage nerf. That's neat. Issue where Blunderbuss, Azoth Shrapnel Blast, issues. But we did get a very important change because everyone's upset at hatchet users. Defy Death is a 70-second cooldown. And I guess that's it. They didn't reduce the power of Berserk or anything like that. I don't even know what this change does. It's not like you're in combat for over a minute unless like someone just runs away with a fire staff and then they try to come at you with a hatchet again. So they just run away for 10 more seconds before trying. Ice Gauntlet changes, binding things, musket, and then like anything that isn't, we are making the finisher unusable. Because like, where's the awareness, devs? Please. They said, oh, we need to make the next raid harder because there was like a 20-something minute speed run of the Gorgon raid. Well, then that means like you should take out the centralizing thing that everyone's using that's like the demand of any kind of run with the finisher being too strong and omnidirectional evade being too strong. We just have a best only use this weapon and it only works if you have like 9 or 10 people slamming it at the same time. No buffs to like other weapons and gear to make content like Mutation 3 and raids easier for other players since pugging is impossible. No. Okay, maybe the devs that are actually like trash. I tried to give them hope for Aeternum. I really enjoy the game. I didn't think, like, I thought the game only got better from like the Gypsum update, Brimstone Sands, Rise of Angry Earth into Aeternum. Like, the devs did everything right. I don't care about like the weird niche bugs that people like, devs never. No, see, that's the thing. The hate is misguided. People say like, oh, the devs never fix bugs. No, the devs only fix bugs and they don't do anything to make their game interesting. Self-healing reduction in PvP. 10% to 30% does not apply to potions. Does that mean lifesteal's weaker? Does that mean like my Void Gauntlet healing doesn't get to cheese as hard? If everyone else is allowed to be strong. Sprint delay, whatever. Adjusted the fuel upgrade for Flourish and Finish. Now only proc once per tick instead of once per Rapier's Bleed. Value increased. So Flourish and Finish getting a buff? Okay, that's actually nice, though. Fixed an issue where some Void Gauntlet abilities would not trigger consistently when unsheathing. Yeah, like, trying to go, like, Void Blade into regular Void Gauntlet back into Void Blade to get the fortification and then pressing buttons inside of that just didn't work. Economy and progression. Bug fixes! Corrected a typo in page 3 of Sword and Shield tutorial. We have corrections to transmogs. We have just tooltips. Man, they need to do these patch notes a lot differently because not all of these are corrections and bug fixes. Like reduce gypsum or reward for repeatable quest containing the contagion from 10 to 1. Wow. I didn't even know about that. That was a big farm. Dang. Remove weaker tier 3 earrings from PvP reward track. So like there's actually some interesting stuff. Spectral chest now give 45 to 55 doubloons up from 14. They're also now a source of gold cursed coconuts. What's the spectral chest? Is that like the event where you kill some ghosts and then the chest unlocks? Yeah, like I was like, what's the point of doing this? It's trash. It doesn't give you anything. It's 14 doubloons. You could loot a regular loot pile and get the same. So it's just a waste of time. But now giving gold cursed coconuts, so like just that makes it worth it. Schematics in the Hive of Gorgon raid have drop chance. Oh, so here's the actual patch notes. The rewards at the bottom of this, like the devs just need to separate. Be like, here's an entire separate URL for bug fixes, so you can just find out all the good changes that we believe actually matter. We're going to put those in the patch notes, so you don't skip over something important when it's like, oh yeah, random issue fix, but also legit stuff happening. So more schematics from Hive of Gorgon, and also just more schematic types are available. Interest of clarity. There's been a point of frustration. Our intention with these schematics was to have increased drop rates and types over time. Yeah, thanks for never telling anyone. We wanted these to be limited early on so we could have some exciting high-value drops for players to play around with. They were not intended to be farmable. And that's why it means, like... So the devs are, like, making all these decisions that only affect, like, 0.01% of finisher speedrunners farming content that wasn't intended to be farmed, therefore everyone else has to suffer, instead of nerfing that kind of play. I don't get it. So we're increasing farmability, and we'll do it in the future again. Correct an issue that allowed players under level 65 to obtain the weekly Formidable Warriors cache. What is the Formidable Warriors cache? Oh, it's actually... I didn't know that's how you could get 725 gear. Oh. It's... Like, see, I think I got one of those. Like, my first arena was that. And then I was like, oh, is this like a daily or weekly reward for playing arena? I might play arena more. And then I never got it again. Even though I was doing like multiple arenas for like the daily bonuses and stuff, I thought I hallucinated it. I was like, I could have sworn I got some pretty good gear from playing arena. Maybe I didn't. Maybe so it was just like a super rare thing that was happening, and you can also get it from OPR. So I guess you should be playing this every day and then like trying to go for the, because that sounds really good. By player request, we've changed the Gorgonite Inductor crafting to no longer give Magnify. I haven't had an issue with, like, having too much Magnify, but I see a lot of people complain. Wow, the devs listen to a player request. Even though it's one of those things where, like, I hate it, where the devs somehow only end up in the pockets of, like, the speedrunner guilds or, like, very specific degenerate players and corporations and stuff. And then the devs, they're not good at the game, so they just, like, copy and like taking those strategies. So devs are just like, yeah, we actually can't beat Gorgon without all of us having a finisher and maybe like 2 other skillful carries. So we're just going to keep that playstyle in there. Oh, what's that? You know, the thing only like a certain class of people are complaining about. Yeah, we'll listen to them. So now it has randomly assigned attribute, but it allows you to insert perk items into the recipe, making it easier to control the attributes. However, if you do not insert it, you'll get a random perk. So be careful with your Gorgonite. The thing is, I like Magnify because, like, if I change my build, I don't have to recraft it. If I go, oh, I want to do Strength with this, and then you change to an Intelligence build or something, or Constitution, well, now you don't have Magnify to bail you out on that one. So, yay. And I'm guessing it's a weekly reward, but I guess if you've just been farming it every week, so you got, like, 12 of these, because you're in that, that's kind of it. And then everyone else, and that's the thing about it. Like by nerfing finisher, you also you nerf the selling of boosting services. Devs, what are you doing? Based on feedback, the way artifacts are available on the reward track has been changed. More likely to show up at all levels, and they're significantly more likely to roll on every level after 50. Finally, can actually like get one of the best items in the game instead of like in a reasonable amount of time, instead of just hundreds and hundreds of hours of PvP. Some new resources have been added to raids and mutated expeditions to add improved access to max gear score. Does this mean that Mutation 3 can actually give you 725? Like, because they said they're changing some things, or maybe at least just making Gorgon stuff. By combining Damaged Gorgon Eyes, a daily limited drop from the Hive of Gorgons and Sandworm, Mutated Dust from Mutate Expeditions, and Azurit Focus, new crafting material, players can craft an inventory cache for themselves that'll grant few items that can roll up. More RNG like a coconut. Crafting it does not require a high trade skill level. Focus does require Arcana. These items are able to roll raid specific perks. Oh, I want my like void. I want my perfect void gauntlet. Monitoring this in the future, but we're pulling mutations back into the end game rewards loop. Hey, so they are saying like, yo, we want 700 plus from mutation 3s, and you can get the dust. Again, I don't understand like what the devs are so scared of with the economy when no one can complete Gorgon raids and the player base is now collapsed under 10,000 concurrence, and like we're monitoring these things and we're listening to very select feedback and everything else is an issue fix. It's like, this is cool. This would have been great to see with the Turkey update, or even with the Winter Convergence, where it's like, hey, here's a reason to play on winter break, so now you can like farm your dailies and keep trying to get high level stuff. Now it's like one of those things where like, oh, but we don't want the game to be instantly beat everyone's max gear score in even a month, because it's MMO, it's persistent, it's supposed to have like active players. But then the thing is, if you just get like 10 people that can play 12 hours a day, that's going to happen anyways. So at least let the other players catch up and don't make the game harder for the regular player just arbitrarily. Because, like, this doesn't hurt the people that are already maxed out. This just makes the game more accessible, and now people can actually play content. Damn, this update sucked. I think the game's dead, boys. I'm going to try to play it a bit, and there's a couple of things for me to do, but that's something.